So we're live already, and
Stephen.
I'm Donna Fresca, psychic medium, and my guest today is Roger Aldridge. Sorry.
Yes.
And I think I'm going to let you introduce yourself because you're going to do a way better job than me. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll try.
Try.
See how much I remember. Yeah, I'm Roger Aldridge, and as I mentioned in our previous live chat, I have a collaboration with Michael Perfetto, who's a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner. And in our energy work together, we have truly extraordinary experiences of connecting, or maybe say tapping into rather than connecting with higher levels of who we are. And this is something that just happens very naturally. Michael and I have been working together since 2017, and it's very hard to find the words that really describe what our energy sessions are like. Like there's a deep sense of balance, there's a deep sense of transcendence.
Mm-hmm.
And when we're at these levels of who we are, in a very natural, effortless way, we connect with many star beings that are helping us, and who are also with my team of guides. And so I share these experiences in my series of blogs. My website is rogeraldridge.com. And when you're there, look for Out and About. It's a section of my website that has all of my blogs, has videos, just like what we're doing here. And it's important to share these experiences in particular at this time. And there's a great deal of talk and speculation about disclosure. And much of what I see on social media about disclosure, I see as a very limited or like a partial perspective of it. There's so much more. And certainly disclosure is happening right now. And a big part of it is for humanity to discover who and what they are.
Yeah, it's pretty intense. Yeah.
Yeah. And so this is one of the reasons why a number of years ago I felt a tap on my shoulder intuitively from my guides, and they said, you need to share these experiences with others. And in the videos that I make with Anouk Sophia, one of the things that she mentions is the importance of finding the others. Finding our kindred spirits, people that we can work with.
Definitely.
And that's why I'm here today with Donna.
Yes. And the first time that we did our live, I lost track of time, several weeks ago, I guess. That's what we chatted about, was your out and about. But today,
Yes.
Super excited. We're talking about pyramids, but
Yes.
not the physical kind.
Yep.
And that is right.
It depends on what you mean by physical.
What's that?
I say it depends on what you mean by physical.
Well, metaphysical. I mean, physical is like, look what I have here for our little pyramid chat today, physical pyramids. However, I know, based on some of the things that you wrote about, and my experiences as well, we connect to these pyramids on a metaphysical way, connection, versus through astronomy. Metaphysical instead of scientific so much is what I'm saying, and that is very intriguing. You don't see people talking about that too much anymore. So this could get extremely complicated. So let's go, low and slow to start off with. And we're talking about pyramids today.
First, I have something to share. Well, I'm not sure how well we can see this, but in the kids section of the Washington Post, it's pyramids. We're probably reading this backwards. But it's this nice little page about various pyramids around the world. And so when I found this morning, I thought, well, this is a pretty cool sign.
It's nice. And it was not backwards, by the way.
Oh, good.
It was backwards for your, but I saw it just fine. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Excellent. Excellent. Yeah. Let's see. Where do you think we should start?
Oh, geez. Well, I know that in our chat you spoke about the higher consciousness associated with some stars, and I mean we're diving in deep to start off with. Of course we are,
Okay.
But I do want to talk about that. But I also want to bring it down a little bit and maybe share some, I know I have a few experiences to share that are very closely linked to what you're talking about.
Okay.
But like I said, this is an unusual chat because it's really not physical pyramids, so to speak. It's more of these spiritual experiences and why and how this happens. So
I would describe it. I would describe it as thinking in terms of like a frequency spectrum, like the electromagnetic spectrum or the overtone series in music. And so when I said, it depends on what we mean by physical, what it is that it depends upon the particular vibratory level that we're experiencing. So if we, you showed your nice little pyramid, it's quite lovely.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Now that is physical in terms of where we are right now in this, the Earth physical density. But then if we start to kick it up a number of notches, then to like a higher vibrational level, then we can experience all kinds of things, at those levels. And so, what I've experienced, and as I was mentioning to you the other day in preparation for today's chat, I went through my blogs where I had experiences with what I would call off-planet pyramids or other kinds of structures. And so I found 25 entries. And one of the things that really stands out for me is that only 3 of them took place in dreams. Another 3 came to me as messages or visions when I was awake.
Mm.
But then the remaining 19 were direct personal experiences that I had in the medical Qigong sessions with Michael Perfetto. And so I think that's pretty profound.
Yeah. I hope our connection stays strong. Your video looks a little fuzzy, and I know sometimes when it happens, we get disconnected, and there's no way to reconnect. So if that happens, and we're hoping that it's not, then we may just have to do another live another day. So fingers crossed. Okay. Welcome everybody, by the way. We have a few people who have joined. You know what? Yes, you had mentioned that the experiences that you've had with pyramids had, I think you said through meditation or in your dreams. And the ones I had, also bizarre, was while I was awake as well. Do you want to maybe chat a little bit about your experiences with the pyramids while you were awake
Yeah.
versus like sleeping or in a meditation?
Yeah, let me just set the stage here. So several months after I began working with Michael Perfetto, and we first collaborated using acupuncture, and then it was after about 16 months, then we started using medical Qigong when he began to use it. And many of the experiences that I'm going to share with you took place in those sessions. That said, in 2017, this was just a few months after I began to work with Michael, what I would describe as a vivid dream came to me. And I knew that what I was seeing was off planet. It's one of those situations that, you can't really describe in words how you know, but just simply, by golly, you know.
Yep.
And I was seeing a town. I was seeing it from above, so it's kind of like I was flying in. And it was a beautiful, beautiful town. I saw many white structures, perhaps they were houses, and I saw them being rounded. And then I saw a large group of people, and it looked like they were celebrating. And then an understanding came to me that they were welcoming me. They were celebrating me coming back. It was like a homecoming. And then I saw some musicians, and they were playing some of the music that I've written in this earth life. But it was just this wonderful, joyous, again, a sense of homecoming. And so for quite a while, I didn't know where this was. But I just knew that, yes, I have a connection with this place, this planet, wherever it was. So that kind of sets the stage for what I'm going to share next. Because then in 2018, a lot more things began to happen. And it was just like a ball that was starting to roll slowly, and then it just increased and increased. One of the first, let me see, I should say the first off-planet pyramid I saw, I described it as being a golden pyramid. And again, there was an inner understanding that what I was seeing was in the Electra system, one of the star systems in the Pleiades.
Mm-hmm.
And the structure looked kind of triangular, but instead of having a sharp point, it was more of like a rounded point. And at that time, not much happened. It was just like seeing this pyramid and feeling that, yes, I have this connection with it. There's something familiar about it to me. But then more came later that I'll describe. Then about the same time frame, there was another structure that I began to see. And this also started in a very slow and simple way and then began to progress. It wasn't a pyramid. It wasn't an energy center as such. Rather, it was a university. And at first, I didn't know where it was, but the first trips, you might say, or the first experience with this university, I saw a group of people, and they were collaborating with a species of star beings that are water-based. And again, this was just kind of like an introduction, just a little bit, like of a taste of more that's going to come later. At first, I didn't know where this university is, but later on, clarity came to me, and I knew that it was in the Alcyon star system that's also in the Pleiades. So this is another connection that I have with these two different star systems there.
Now, let me just stop you for 1 second. For the people who are not too, savvy with stars, the Pleiades is a cluster of many, many, many stars. Two of the ones that you mentioned are a part of that.
Yes. So the Golden Pyramid in Electra was the first one. The second one that came to us isn't actually a pyramid. It's more of a highly refined energy center. I saw the building as being kind of like a more lower structure, but then it had a part that rose up. Something like a skyscraper, but not as tall proportionally. The vision first came to Michael, and this was in one of our sessions in 2019. And at first, he said, "I'm having an image of a cathedral," and that didn't feel quite right to me. And so as I started tapping into the vision that he was having, and I need to stress, when we're having our medical Qigong sessions, both Michael and I are having all of these kinds of higher level experiences. And sometimes he sees something, sometimes I see something, and then sometimes we see it together. So after he told me about this structure, I started getting a vision of it. And I would describe it as like having a radiant white color. And importantly, there were 3 star beings standing in front of it.
Ooh.
And I had an inner knowing that they were Arcturian. And it also felt to me that I had a very old and deep connection with them and this place. And from that point, several more experiences happened with this Arcturian structure. A couple weeks after we had this initial encounter, this dream came to me, and I saw myself in this old-time hardware store. And so I was looking around, and there were some people there. I felt very comfortable there.
And like you've been there before, perhaps?
Sorry?
Like you've been there before, perhaps?
Well, what I discovered, what came to me actually after the dream, after I came out of the dream, I realized that the hardware store represented the Arcturian structure. And seeing it as a hardware store, I understood that this was a place of deep wisdom and healing, and that newer people, or I should say younger people perhaps, were coming to the hardware store, and they were being helped by older people. And then as I was there, a new person came through the door, and then some of the old people that were there working in the store, they asked me to talk with this person and tell them about the place. And I found that very interesting.
I love that in your dream that your subconscious mind, manifested a hardware store. Because that's very symbolic. Of course, it's not a hardware store, but your mind was like, okay, how am I going to put that into a symbol so Roger can understand it? So hardware store. I mean,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, it,
Yeah.
it's symbolic of so many things that you need to gather to build something, to fix something, to create something. And
Yeah.
we're taking this all on a energetic cosmic level. Again,
Yes.
that's what we're chatting about today is the pyramids, but the mystical side of them. So go ahead and I'll finish that.
Yeah. And then just literally 2 days after that, trying to look at my notes. This again was probably in a medical qigong session with Michael rather than a dream. I visualized that I was back in the Arcturian structure, and I saw it as as how it is, and no kind of symbolic veneer, if you will. And then in this structure, I think I first saw myself with a council. And then I saw myself doing energy work in this structure. And what I saw was it was a beam of white light that came out of my heart. It started as a single beam, but then it just broke apart into a vast number of beams. And each one went to a star system that's part of the Star Nations community. Somehow this didn't come as a surprise to me. I mean, I wasn't like, it was like very calm, very matter of fact. I mean, it was a very high level.
Yeah, it felt very comfortable to you. Yeah, because you're on that same frequency. We're talking about a higher consciousness, higher frequency here. The experiences that you've had or had with these structures.
Yeah, exactly right. And then as I was having this experience with the beams of light or energy connecting with all of these planets in many different star systems, I heard the words, "These are the star nations."
Mm.
So when I use the term star nations to talk about the same thing that other people might describe as a galactic federation, I use star nations because those are the words that came to me.
Now, let's just back up a little bit. You mentioned a few stars before. I do want to mention Orion's belt because Orion's belt is associated with pyramids and the higher consciousness of that experience.
Yeah.
It's part of the Pleiades cluster, perhaps, but it's not, right?
No, Orion.
Orion, it's its own, okay. But it's associated from, what I understand of the stars, it's associated with, the people who connect with the pyramids, on that frequency.
Yeah.
I just want to, again, back up just a tad and share, and get back to the star nations that you were speaking of in just a moment. Some of these experiences that you've had, you said they were in dreams or in meditations, and the few, the handful that I've had happened when I'm awake. Just to share one quickly, I was going to the bank making a deposit, whatever, withdrawal, I guess it was, and I'm in my car on the way home. And I had the money in my hand. I'm like, okay, let me just put it in my purse. So as one of the bills flashed by my eyes, the little pyramid, I almost got into a car accident because all these images just shot through my mind, a whole story. And I'm trying to drive, yet in my clairvoyant eye, I'm seeing this whole vision take place. And I'm like, I'm like, what is this? And within, oh gosh, it felt like forever because I was driving, but it probably was only maybe 10 seconds or so. I see the pyramid. Then all of a sudden I'm in Egypt and I see a pyramid. Now this is very bizarre because I'm looking at the pyramid from the Sphinx on top as if I was that.
Wow.
And so I am on the tippy top and I see my hands extended. And I'm like, how is this possible? I am on the tippy top of this pyramid. And mind you, I'm still driving as these two things are going by. So I'm on the top of this pyramid clairvoyantly, and I'm looking down and I see all these people, a lot of people walking into the pyramid. Now you mentioned before wasn't a pyramid, it was some kind of structure with a rounded top, a university. And I'm like, are you sure it's not some type of pyramid? Because, the vision that I saw of this particular pyramid, it was a school. And there were school buses. Of course, there were no school buses driving across the sand in Egypt, but they're symbolic of people gathering to get information. Now, there are other parts to this because, time, as like does this. So the other visions that I've had that I'm going to share a little bit later, they're all, apparently you can't get all these insights at once because they'll blow your head up. So you're just little, but thank you so much for giving them to me while I'm driving. So anyway, so it was interesting that I got from this one pyramid that I was on top of this pyramid, and this pyramid had something to do with learning and schooling. And I'm going to talk about this later. We're going to talk about the Akashic records.
Sure.
Okay. Finish talking about your star nations and that snippet which you're sharing.
Okay. Yeah, just to be clear, the university that I have gone to many times through consciousness, it's definitely a university. Like there's a campus and multiple buildings and things like that. So it's not a pyramid. But then you mentioned Orion's belt. So the Onilam system, that's the middle star in Orion's belt. This is another pyramid that I've been experiencing. So what we have here is a triangle between Electra, Arcturus, and Onilam. And of course, this is energetic. It's not it's not an astronomical triangle, because they're in different places of the star. But there, my screen went blank for a minute, but I'm okay.
Yeah, your connection is very, very fuzzy on my end. So if we get disconnected, and I'm hoping we don't.
Okay.
Oh, you're a little bit clearer now. I don't know what you did, but
the connection with Onilam also started in kind of a curious way. Several years ago in one of our sessions, Mike described a star being that he was seeing as being humanoid and having darker skin. And so he was helping us in our session. And then he appeared to us in other sessions as well. And
now, were you able to see that, or is this just hearsay from Michael?
I sensed him. I sensed the presence, and then there were also visions as well. And in one of our sessions, Michael described him as he was helping us. He said to Michael, "He's finding it." And what we understood is that he was talking about me, in terms of things that I'm experiencing learning. And then it might have been a year or so after that, this also took place in one of our sessions. I saw myself flying through clouds, and I was coming down to a planet, but it wasn't Earth. And at that point in time, I didn't see very much, but when I did an energy reading on that planet, I understood that it's one of the planets in the Alnilam system. And I also forgot to mention that, as I was just discovering more about that being with the darker skin, I discovered that, he's a star being from the Alnilam system. And more things came to me. I started having visions of a pyramid, and it looked very much like a Mayan pyramid. Very similar to one of the pyramids at Tikal, as an example, kind of like straight up.
Okay.
Instead of triangular. And at one point, I saw myself inside the pyramid, and it was very different.
What did it look like? Describe
was
the
very
inside.
different from what I experienced in the pyramid in the Electra system, or in the structure in Arcturus. I would describe it as extremely high frequency energies. Yet I had a sense of like a very deep purple color.
Is that what you saw, or is that what you sensed?
Both.
Really? Okay.
Both. Yeah. I was seeing that and sensing it, and I was having a vision of energetic waveforms, and I was seeing like a very long, slow kind of waveform. And what came to me is that it reminded me of whale songs.
Ooh.
How they have like very deep frequencies.
Frequencies, yeah.
Waveforms, and they're very long and slow. And then in that way, they can travel very, very long distances. And it might have been about that same time that I began to understand that the civilization in the Alnilam system is very ancient, is very high frequency. And one of the things they do is working with balance on a vast scale. And that's the main thing I've been able to learn about them. And when that understanding came to me, I realized that what Michael is doing with our energy work, working with flow and balance, is exactly the same as what the Alnilam civilization is doing on a macroscopic level. I really love that realization that came to me.
Yeah.
So again, like we have these three star systems: Electra, Arcturus, and now Alnilam. And a vision came to me at one point in one of our sessions. I felt myself energetically, in a physical way, because I was experiencing this with my physical body, but it was, at kind of like a higher energetic level. It's kind of hard to describe it, but I felt energies in my left hand, and again, there was a knowing that this represented the energies in the electrosystem pyramid. And then the right hand, it was what I would call Arcturian energies. Then in the forehead, it was the Onilam energies. And so then an energetic pyramid or triangle was formed. I felt the energies coming down to each of my hands connecting. And then
Roger, let me just interrupt for you for a sec. Do you do channeling work? Do you channel?
Not as such. I don't think of it in that way.
Because what the things that you're talking about now, and if I just came into this live, I'd be like, what's this guy talking about, you know? But I get it, because these are mystical experiences that are not validated at all by science, other than the placement of the stars and the Pleiades that we were talking about. However, on an extremely high vibration frequency, as a channeler, like I believe a lot of us are, these are the experiences that we have that cannot be validated. And so frustrating, because we see these, we feel those, but they cannot be validated by science. And I'm very scientific, so it doesn't exist unless I can see it, feel it, hear it, see it, or back it up by science. But as a psychic medium, I hands down know that these things just unfold, and there's comfort in knowing that there's other people who share these experiences with us, that we see things, we feel things about the planets, about beings. And again, we can't prove it, but on some level, other people know it. I wanted to share, I briefly spoke about pyramids before while I was driving, and another experience I had, again, continuing with the story of the pyramids, I guess on a spiritual level, I'm not quite sure, that I was awake in a classroom. We were doing some kind of meditation. I may have mentioned this on some other lives that I did, but here I am standing in front of the teacher, and I don't know what the point of the meditation was while I was standing. I think it was to, okay, close your eyes and think of who you are. I'm like, okay, I know who I am, but I'll do it anyway. And the second I closed my eyes, I popped out of my physical body so quickly that I extended my left foot out, because I just felt myself pop out. And next thing I know is I'm in space, and I'm like, clairvoyantly, of course, and I turn around and I see Earth, and I see my silver glittery tether that's attached to me in the Earth. I'm like, and I see a wormhole. So I'm in between Earth and a wormhole. Now, this wormhole could have been, I don't know what it was, but it was some kind of black hole. It could have been a star, could have been a planet, could have been, not quite sure. And so I'm in between. I'm like, whoa, I know I'm in the safety of my classroom. I see my tether to Earth. I am safe. And I'm looking at that wormhole. I'm like, I'm going in. So here I am. Oh, and again, welcome everybody. If anybody has any questions about the pyramids or what we're chatting about, just pop it in the comments and we'll try to answer it the best we can. So I go into this wormhole, completely black. Couldn't see a thing. I couldn't really sense anything at first, but after a few seconds, I sensed beings. I could not see them, but I know they were there. And they were, from what I sensed, they were extremely large, extremely intelligent, and we had a telepathic communication. Again, to remind you, this is going on inside a classroom while I'm awake, this experience. I think it was maybe 10 minutes or so, 5 minutes, I'm not quite sure. So then I'm in this wormhole. And again, this all connects to the pyramids, but in different years, different times of my life, but they're all related. It was given to me in bits and pieces. So I'm in this wormhole. I understand that there's beings there. And I'm like, okay. And I had my back up against, this wormhole, because that's all I was allowed to go. And telepathically, I heard, you're not supposed to be here at this time. I'm like, I understand that. Thank you for allowing me to experience this.
Yeah.
And I kind of just said, okay, I don't want to, I need to leave now. So I just backed out of this wormhole and I went in reverse, and all of a sudden I'm back in the classroom.
Mm.
And I opened up my eyes. I'm like, what just happened? So
Yeah.
my teacher, who was standing right in front of me, she was some spooky chick. She was able to link up with her students telepathically. She had that kind of gift. And I looked at her, I'm like, did you see that? She's like, yeah, I saw that. I'm like, I don't know how you saw that, but what was that? She's like, well, she goes, let's just say that I've never seen anybody pop out of their body as fast as you just did. I go, I've never done that before. I go, I don't even know what that is. All right. So that happened at that one time. And flash forward maybe a year or two, I was in another class and we did some kind of meditation. And here we go in the pyramids again. And I'm in this white, cloudy, beautiful area, and I see a long table. And on the table was 7 cups, different colors representing the chakras.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, I know what those cups are. And people were just walking about, and some had like very like white robes with, a tie around their waist. And then up on these beautiful stairs was a building with columns. I'm like, why does that feel so familiar? And I'm just looking at it. I'm like, well, I'm going in. I have such nerve in my visions, So here we go. So I walk up these stairs. Then all of a sudden, this column-like structure turned into a pyramid. Mm. And I walk into the pyramid, and I'm looking around, and you could clearly see that it was the shape of a pyramid. I'm like, I am inside a pyramid. And I look in front of me and I see these beings, very tall. I think there was like 4 of them, maybe 5. And I felt that they were the same beings that I met years prior in that wormhole. I felt it hands down, and I could see them now. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking at them, telepathically. I'm like, I know you. And they said, welcome. I'm like, welcome. I'm like, I'm allowed to do this now. So apparently whatever I did or experienced or grew in that year or two, allowed me to get to this level. So anyway, I'm inside the pyramid. And this is why I asked you, when you were inside your pyramid, what did you see? And you mentioned purple, I think you said. And I saw millions of books, millions of books. I mean, from on all the walls going up infinity. I'm like, these are the history of our books. These are Akashic records, aren't they? Mm. And they're like, yeah. And this goes back to the very first experience I had with the pyramids while I was driving, when I was on top of this pyramid and I saw the school bus and people coming in to learn.
Yeah.
So it was my mind put a physical object, a school bus, and people to come into this pyramid to represent people seeking knowledge in these inside these pyramids. The pyramids of knowledge. I wish I could talk to more people to see if they could see what's inside a pyramid. Out there. Hey, if you ever seen inside a pyramid, let me know. But It's just these 3 separate experiences that I've had while awake that all relate to the pyramid and knowledge.
Mm-hmm. Just a moment. Well, let me.
I know that was a lot, but when you talk about pyramids, this stuff happens.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well, you asked me what I saw inside the pyramid. I need to kind of focus on something right here about the relationship of the 3 structures that I have this connection with. I need to say that in my sessions with Michael and then also with dreams, I've gone to other places. I've seen other structures. As an example, I saw a massive pyramid, and this was early on. And at first I didn't know what it was, but now I understand it's probably in the Sirius system. I've seen other structures that I'm not quite sure, where they are, but there's just something of vast importance for me, in the work that I'm here to do. with the connections of like Electra, Arcturus, and then Alnilam. These three structures have different functions, and they're different energetically. When I was first inside the Electra pyramid, I was looking around and I was looking for words to describe it. And words that came to me, I heard making deep connections.
Ooh, I'd say.
And then it was also at that time, it was in the same session with Michael that a message came to him. He mentally asked the question, what does Roger need to know at this time? And the message that came to him, at first he didn't know quite what it meant. He said, Cousin Anne is home. And that made no sense because I don't have a Cousin Anne.
Now, hold on one second. Sorry to interrupt. Is Michael a teacher or mentor of yours?
He's a medical Qigong practitioner.
Okay, so and does he teach this to you? So he's like a teacher?
No, we're doing the energy work together.
Together,
He's doing the medical Qigong treatments on me.
I see. Okay.
And so then, as the energy work takes place, we, as I mentioned before, we get into higher levels of our being, and through an energy frequency match.
Yeah.
With like attracts like, then we have these experiences of being off planet, connecting with various star beings, and so on.
Right. Because you had said that Michael said, what does Roger need to know at this time? I think that's what he asked.
Yeah.
What if you, instead of like having a middleman, what if you just ask that yourself? What do I need to know at this time? And sensed or noticed what you received, what you saw, what you felt. I mean, it's great. My point is, it's great to have, when you work with somebody, because I've done that as well, with Reiki and whatnot. But like I said before, unless I experience things myself, I'm like, okay, that's hearsay. It doesn't. Mm-hmm. But if I were to ask myself, what do I need to know at this time? And I would more than likely get either hear something with my spiritual ear or clairvoyantly saying, okay, this, blah, 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 versus having somebody tell me, oh, this is what I see for you.
Well, that's a good question. But the thing is, what I need is to work within this collaboration. And again, like it goes both ways. There's times when something comes to Michael that's a message for me. Sometimes something comes to me that's a message for Michael. Often we have experiences that are the same thing. We might perceive them differently in terms of like symbolism or energetic feelings, but then they fit together.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. So what he says about it resonates.
And then also, like I validate things for myself, energetically, doing pendulum readings. Mm. So long story short, when he said, Cousin Anne is home, and I told him I don't have a Cousin Anne, he said, well, maybe I'm not saying this exactly right. So between us, we figured out what the message was Kazanan, not cousin.
Oh, wow.
Kazanan.
Yeah. Slight mispronunciation. Yeah, right.
And then when I, still it's like, I don't know what this means. So I came home, started working with it energetically. And then what came to me, Kazanan is the fourth planet in the Electra system. And that's the planet where the Golden Pyramid is located. And so that was the message.
Hmm.
Kazanan is home.
Oh, interesting.
And and I have felt this deep connection with the Pleiades for a very long time. But I've also learned that, like for each of us, we are much more than having a human life on Earth. We are even more than having a connection with a single star system.
Oh, yeah.
It's like there's universes within us. So I do have this deep connection with Electra, but I also have connections with Arcturus and then Alnilam. So let me jump to something here because I'm kind of looking at the time.
Yeah, I was going to say we're coming up on an hour. So,
So this is a symbol that came to me several years ago.
Wow.
It came to me through my morning energy practice when I was connecting with, what I call the Kazinian frequencies. And I would also see myself inside the Golden Pyramid. So after about 7 months,
I think you could put the paper down, Roger.
Okay. Yeah. So it's a triangle. It's a backward S.
Yeah.
There's 2 dots within the curvature of
Can you hold on 1 second? I just heard a huge crash like in my house. Hold that thought for like 2 seconds.
Okay.
I have to see what the heck, and I'm the only one home right now. All right. Well, sorry about that. I'm not quite sure what that is, but I'm going to need to investigate because I am the only one home, and I heard a huge crash.
Okay.
So I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah. So this symbol came to me during energy work, and I would also see myself inside the Golden Pyramid, experiencing it there. And then after 7 months of having these experiences with it, when Michael was working on my heart, this image came to him too. The triangle with the glyph inside, a short line going up to a white circle above the pyramid. And then he described that he saw this symbol transform itself. And I'm going to try to make this short. It's a little bit complicated, but
all right. Well, wait a minute. Don't get complicated. Like 10 minutes before we have to wrap things up. I do want to ask you before you get into that, though. With all the amazing things that you had said and experienced, how do you think you could use all this information in your everyday life, or your channeling, or your work? Or how can you incorporate? It's one thing to receive and see and experience all this stuff, but it's like a gift. Like, okay, I'm giving Roger all this information, but what do you do with it other than going on lives and sharing with people? That symbol that you just shown, use it for your healings. How can you incorporate all this information into your everyday life?
All of this is being who I am. That's the way with each of us. And so I've described how I do energy practices every day. And it's the 3 pyramids that I've described already. I visualize them as part of my evening practice. And so with Electra, I feel this being yin.
Oh, yeah.
And again, the expression making deep connections. With Arcturus, I feel this in my right hand, and that's yang. And you might remember one of the experiences that I had with Arcturus, in that structure was feeling this heart void, going out to all of the systems in the Star Nations community. So that's vastly expansive. So we've got a yin and yang balance. But then with the forehead, that's anilam, and that's about balance. So here I am balancing energetically these three star systems. And oftentimes, for many months when I did this energetic triangle, inside I would see it being translucent. But then over time, things began to happen. I would see images of a Mayan pyramid. But then something really profound happened. There was like an energetic switch. And now I'm inside this energetic triangle, not looking into it. I'm inside it.
Roger, do you paint at all? Are you creative?
No. Well,
darn it. Because I was going to say, if you are, you have, because thank my lucky
no,
stars, no pun
this is why I'm writing all of these blogs,
Yeah.
so people can.
Yeah, but it would be great if you could paint some of these things. I mean, that graphic that you drew was beautiful, but.
Okay,
Yeah.
but I need to say this because this is
I'm sorry to interrupt.
question. So when I'm having this experience with the triangle and seeing myself inside it, then the and also sometimes seeing myself as a pyramid, the message came to me: you are the pyramid. So that really should answer your question about what I do with these energies. It's who we are. It's manifesting this in our state of being. And one more thing real quick, another thing that came to me back in 2018, I had a vision of walking down a sidewalk with a group of people, and it looked like we were in New York City, had that vibe. And we were going to a building that had storage lockers. And I had the key for one of the lockers, but then the dream ended. Then more recently, I had the dream again. And what then came to me is I heard the words Mayan, I heard time capsule, and I heard embodiment. And then what I realized is that I, along with the others, we are the storage lockers. We are the time capsules. And embodiment is what we are remembering and understanding what we're here to do, the work that we're here to do. So in very short words, the symbol that I showed you represents the energy work that is done in the Electra pyramid. Very quickly, the first stage is the symbol. The second stage is the glyph that suddenly goes up into the white circle. There's no movement. It's just like, psh, there it is. Mm-hmm. That represents projecting our consciousness into a higher level of being. The third stage is the pyramid, where the triangle is starting to rise. This takes place energetically in the pyramid that, we're rising up to higher levels of dimension. Mm. The fourth stage is that all of the symbols are together, and that represents a form uniting with consciousness. So I also understand that other kinds of energy work takes place in this pyramid, that beings from various star systems come to this pyramid for very profound energy work. And so what Michael and I are seeing is just one type of energy work taking place that we're experiencing.
Roger, we're going to have to, we're up on an hour. You are fascinating. You are wonderfully complicated. And I don't know, we might need a part 3 or a third live, video here. But my gosh, thank you for all your information.
Oh,
and
thank you.
You know what? So many of us are somehow connected to the pyramids, whether it's our dreams, our feelings, our knowing, our in our meditations. And what I do want to end with is that, like for yourself, when you have all these amazing feelings and experiences, with Michael and this energy healing, that you can always go back and ask for more information. Like for myself, once I got inside that pyramid and saw all those books, I want to go back in there and talk to these beings again. Guys, there is nothing that you can't do. I mean, living as a psychic medium, I now know, I've known for a long time, that when you put your mind and heart and energy into something and trust yourself enough to manifest whatever it is that you want, there's nothing that we can't do.
Right.
I mean, I can always go back in a meditative state later on today and say, to focus on the pyramid that I saw with all the books on the inside and these beings, to communicate more with them. I feel like hesitation within myself. So I feel like I'm not ready to do that yet. So we have to trust ourselves, and we have no limitations. But again, thank you so much for being here. Again, just tell us your website again.
I would really encourage people to visit my website. It's rogeraldridge.com.
Yeah, a lot of information.
And, that started out as my music site. And then once I started doing the blogs, then I created a separate page. So go to my site, look for Out and About, and then just kind of look around. One of the collections of blog entries that I have, because I have so much material in my Out and About blogs, I started creating a series of collections that have different topics. And so, if people are interested in a particular topic, like Mars or off-planet schools or music in the stars, that kind of thing, they can pick a topic. But based on what we're talking about today, I would really encourage people to look for the collection Star Nation's Teams.
Okay, yeah.
Because it talks about the teams and how, that I've been a part of, how they're connected with these 3 star systems. And it goes much deeper than what we've been able to talk about.
Yeah, I've been through your blogs before. I'm like, I got through a couple of minutes of it. I'm like, ooh, this is a lot for me to digest. All right, guys. Roger, thank you again. So fascinating. Thank you everybody who joined. And if you came in late, watch the replay. Again, it's complex. It's on a high frequency consciousness level here. Talk about pyramids and stars and our experiences with them. And some of us have them, some of us don't yet. But again, Roger, thank you so much. So much fun.
One last thought. We are the pyramid.
We are?
We are the pyramid.
We are the pyramid.
We are the pyramid.
We are the pyramids, guys. All right, Roger. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. All right. Bye-bye.